Okay, I've decided to make a short video on the letters N to Z because I know Teams is difficult for some of you. It doesn't work that well. Whereas if I put this on YouTube, you might have better access. I did record yesterday's lesson and it is on Teams, but again, if that is inaccessible to you, then this might be more helpful. Now, again, pages 2 and 3 in the book will be very useful. So they will show you how to write the letters, size, shape, and direction, and all of that. So I'm going to start with N. So a longhand N would previously have had like a little sort of a hook there, and that's your shorthand N. So you're going to start about a third of the way up between your two lines, and you're going to go around a little hook like that. So that's just N. Don't go up too high, because if you do, that is actually N blended with H. So that gives you, it's an NH blend, so we don't want that. So keep it down fairly close to the line and round like that. O is easy. That's the same as a longhand O, but it's smaller. So it's about that size. And again, you'll get the size and shape from the book. Now, the full vowel is hardly ever used. It is used sometimes, but it's the indicator that's used more commonly, and it's the bottom half of the letter O, and it's written from left to right. Be careful not to write it too long, because that longer outline is a W. And be careful not to make it too elongated, because that is actually a letter U, which I'm going to come to in a moment. Okay, but if you think of it like this, O is like a saucer shape. I don't know why I'm writing this so slowly. W is like a bowl, and bowl has W in it. And U is like a cup. Okay, so U is a cup, W is a bowl, whereas O is a saucer. So there's O, and you'll write it in an anti-clockwise direction. Okay, the same with the indicator. P takes the vertical stroke from the letter P, and you just write it down through the line like that. It's about maybe halfway above the line, and then it ends halfway below. If you start it too high up, it's going to look like a H plus a P. If you start it too far down, it's going to look like indicator E followed by P. So, or indicator E followed by H maybe. So it starts about halfway up and ends about halfway down. Again, the book will guide you. Q then is kind of taken from a longhand letter Q. So it's more rounded and kind of streamlined like that. Now, it's kind of slanty, but if your handwriting style is more straight, you might find it written more like that. So that'd be more the way I would write it, but it's just a wee bit slanted. It looks a bit like a test tube. R would be from the old-fashioned letter R, which would have been written something like that, or like that. Okay, so it's this line, and it goes up at a 45-degree angle from the line. Now, it goes up the ways. Don't ever write R down, because that is wrong. You want to keep going left to right as much as you can. So it goes up the way, and it's at approximately a 45-degree angle. There should be a wee bit of a gap there at the top. Okay, it shouldn't go all the way up. S is from the old handwritten letter S, which would have had a wee loop there. So it's like an O, but it's smaller. All right, so O would be a bigger letter. O would be more like that. And then S would be small. That's not very well written. I'm doing this through the screen, which is my excuse. And it is anti-clockwise. Okay. T gives its name to T-line. So we're taking the horizontal stroke and we're writing it below the top line. Now, don't worry too much about should it be there, should be there. As long as it's fairly close to the top line. If you write it too close, if you write it on the line, it looks as if it belongs to the previous sentence. Okay. Or if you write it too far down, it's confusing. Is it T or D? So if you write it just below the line there, just hovering there, that's better. Not too long, or otherwise it looks like T blended with R, which don't try to learn that now, it's too soon. But that's what it looks like. So it should be short, and again, it's in the book. The letter U from the book here is really just a U without the downward stroke. So you're going to write the letter U like a longhand U, but it's straight down, round, and straight back, and you don't have the downward stroke. Okay, so it's like, as I said, like a wee cup. Okay, that's the shape that you're doing. So it's down, round, and up, and it takes up about a third of that space. V is like a longhand V, Again, just watch, you don't have any little flourishes, you know, you don't have anything like that, or any little loops, because that gives you the wrong outline. So it's straight down, straight up. Don't lift your pen, keep your pen connected to the paper at all times while you're writing an outline. V, V, and just make it straight. W is like that part of the W elongated, so it's like that. So again, that's like a little bowl. And as I said just a moment ago, U is like a cup, W is like a bowl, and O is like a saucer. X is like a longhand X. Now, if you have your book, you'll see there in the book that it's recommended that you write the left to right stroke first, okay? So the stroke that goes this way should be the first one. Oh, sorry, that zoomed out there. It's gone fuzzy. Not sure what happened there. Okay, hopefully it'll come back. There we go. So we want to write that stroke of the X first. All right, so this is the first one we do. And the reason is that when you do this one, then you're going left to right. So you're moving across that way. Whereas if you were to do this one first and then this one, you are still writing in the correct direction, but it's better if you do this one first. If you're writing a word like X-ray, for example, don't learn this now, it's too soon, but if you did X-ray, you would blend X, and then the R would go through it, and then you'd write A. Whereas if you did this stroke first, there's no way to join the R onto that to make it look like an X, so you need this one, and then this one. And there's always a reason why you're asked to write a letter in a particular direction, and that's one of the reasons why you're asked to write X like that. So it's this stroke first and then this stroke, and you're going up, so you're going left to right. Okay, so this is 1 and this is 2. Y is like a longhand Y without the tail, so it's like a shorthand U. So think of your U in shorthand, your little cup, but then you put a wee handle on it. Now, a lot of people will read that and they'll call it Y. They'll say it's Y. It's not, or sorry, they'll say it's U because it looks like longhand U. It's Y. It's shorthand Y, and that's what you call it. Okay, Y. And again, keep the shape fairly uniform, and it only takes up about 1/3 of your space. Z is really from a longhand Z, so you're going to write it a bit like a shorthand S. So it's a clockwise S, and then just put a tail on it. So a little S with a tail on it, and that's Z. And again, you'll do that about 50-60 times, and just say the letter Z as you're doing it. Nice and slowly, Z, 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 Z. Don't put this round too far, or don't do it too much like that, or it'll lose its shape. You want to try and keep the shape. Okay, and that's your alphabet.